Hi, and welcome to your yoga practice today. Today's class is a really good class to get deep into the back of the hamstrings and also into the hips. We're going to spend a lot of time in those areas throughout the class. And really, the main thing you'll want is probably a pair of yoga blocks and, of course, your yoga mat. The blocks will be there to support you, and also they'll help provide a little bit of challenge for some of the movements in class today. We're going to go ahead and get started. Finding a cross-legged seat in the center of your mat. Doesn't matter which leg is in front, just whatever is comfortable for you. You can even fold up a blanket and sit a little bit higher if that feels comfortable. We'll just start with a little breathing practice to start to move the breath through the body and to wake up the upper body and spine. So go ahead and start. Bring the hands to heart center, and we'll just start with a normal breath. Inhale and exhale. Feeling the breath start to move through the body as you sit up nice and tall. Allowing the shoulders to relax. On the next breath, we'll take an inhale to prepare. As you exhale, interlace the fingers. We're going to turn the palms outward. Press the palms away as you exhale, and we're going to keep the tuck of the tailbone rounding into the back. And then inhale, lift the palms up to the sky. Can you bring the forearms or the upper arms up, being the ears? And then we're going to go ahead and exhale, separate the fingers, draw the elbows back. Maybe squeeze the shoulder blades as you draw the elbows behind the ribs. Inhale once more, bring the hands back to heart center to prayer. Exhale, we'll do that again. Flip the palms away from you, curl, tuck the tailbone under, stretch. Inhale, rise up. Maybe the arms can come a little further behind the ears. Exhale, separate the hands, draw the elbows down. Maybe take a little back bend as you bring the shoulder blades together. Inhale, hands come to heart center. Exhale again, tucking the tailbone, pushing the hands away. Inhale up. Last time as we exhale, bring the elbows down, maybe finding a little back bend, whatever's comfortable for you. And then inhale the arms to heart center, or the hands to heart center. From here, I'm going to spin around so I can face the top edge of my mat. Go ahead and follow as you do the same. And we'll bring the soles of the feet to the mat, and we'll take a few seated cat and cows. So hands can come just behind the thighs. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, round, tucking the tailbone, allowing yourself to sink back, holding onto the back of the legs. And then inhale, draw the chest forward, almost like you're trying to draw the chest through the knees. Finding a back bend here as we draw the shoulder blades again in this different posture. And then go ahead and release. Exhale as you tuck the tailbone, drawing the core in. Inhale. Using the hands as leverage to draw yourself in. And then as you exhale, use the hands to hold on to the legs. Just find out that stretch into the upper body and between the shoulders. Once more, inhale. And we'll take one more round as we come into our seated cat position, rounding into the back. And last time as we rise up, inhale. And then release the breath, come back into a neutral position. Here's where we're going to want to find our blocks. So we're going to come into a kneeling position first. So kneeling just with our heels underneath our seat, and then we'll grab just one block. This block, we're going to go ahead and sneak underneath the left glute. So we're going to extend the left leg out in front of us, lifting up our left glute. We'll make sure that the block is nice and securely underneath our tailbone. and we feel fully supported. So now we've taken a lot of weight off of the right ankle, but the right knee is still bent. The left leg is out in front of us. We're going to find a supported hamstring stretch here. And you'll also notice a lot of this into the back of your calf. So if you have especially tight calves, this is one of my favorite stretches. Inhale the arms up, and then exhale, forward folds. You don't need to come down very far. You can stay up high. You can start to walk the chest forward, trying to keep a straight back. So really trying to lift the belly, or I should say reach the belly button towards the thigh, instead of just trying to aim the chest straight down. The chest should be reaching forward, and the belly button should be reaching towards the top of that left thigh. The left foot is flexed. Already feeling a pretty deep stretch into the back of the left leg. I feel like this is a great alternative if you are one that absolutely despises half splits. This is a nice alternative for you. You can always have a slight bend in the knee. Sometimes we can still feel a stretch even with the knee bent. When you're ready, walk the hands in. We're going to shift the weight over to the right so we can sneak that block out from underneath us. Switch out the legs. So now the left knee is bent. We're going to go ahead and move the weight over to the left so we can bring the right leg out, extend it out long, and then place the block right underneath the right glute this time. Now we'll inhale the arms up. And then exhale, start to reach forward, staying long in the upper body. Maybe already noticing a difference between the right and the left sides. When you're ready, go ahead and walk the hands up. Take your time. We're going to remove that block. Go ahead and set it aside. And then we'll extend both of the legs out in front, nice and long, finding our seated forward fold. Now, this is very early on in our practice, so you could still very be tight in the back of the legs. Don't worry, this is a full body stretch. We're just going to relax into this, so no need to force it. We're just going to breathe through the posture. You can have the knees bent and have a bolster underneath the legs. We'll inhale, prepare, lifting the arms up, and then exhale, start to forward fold over the top of the legs. Just let the upper body hang and feel heavy here as you relax into the posture by using the breath. So fully inhale all the way down, filling up the lungs, expanding through all sides of the body, the sides of the ribs, breathing into the back body. As you exhale, release. With your next breath, go ahead and walk your hands in, coming into an upright posture. From here, we're going to find some active drills to strengthen into our hips. And from this, we'll take another block. If you don't have a block, you can use a water bottle, or you can even leave the block out altogether if it is just far too challenging. We'll leave the right leg extended and draw the left foot in to meet the inside of the right thigh. From here, we'll place the block just onto the outside of the right foot. And now, again, the block itself can be challenging. We can make this easier by having the hands behind us and leaning back a little further. Harder we'll be having the weight leaning forward, but still keeping our back nice and straight and staying tall. So we're going to do some leg lifts, crossing up and over the block. When you're ready, we're going to lift the right foot, draw it to the outside of the block, and then back for 1. Lifting up and back for 2, up and over for 3, crossing over and back for 4, reaching over and back for 5. Let's go for 6, back and over. Those are really challenging. You might feel cramping into the top of your right thigh. So if you do feel cramping, go ahead and massage it out. Maybe give it a few wraps with your knuckles so you can release the cramp. From here, we're going to find our passive stretch into our head to knee pose. So we'll inhale the arms up. Exhale once more. We're going to start to hinge forward at the hips, but aiming for a straight spine. So again, leading towards the front of the room with the heart center, drawing the belly button forward and down, almost like it's trying to reach the top of the right thigh. Pausing here, and we'll stay here in this pose. Right foot is flexed. And if you feel yourself deepen into this head to knee pose, you can even start to walk the left hand to the outside of the right foot, reaching towards the top right corner of the mat. On the next breath, bring the hands back to center if you had them crossed over, and start to bring yourself back to an upright posture. From here, we'll find an open hip position. So we're going to separate that left foot from that right inner thigh. I'll need to lift up my hips slightly. So now instead of facing directly over that right leg, we're going to be turned out at a diagonal, a very open hip position, facing more the top left corner of the room. And you could see I have a pretty good separation between my left foot and my right thigh. Once more, we're going to grab a block, and yes, we're going to do some more block crossovers in this position. And go ahead and get yourself prepared. You can, again, leave the block out altogether if it's just too high for you to cross over, or you can lean the weight back a little further to make it a little easier on yourself. So wherever you're at, we're going to try and aim for about 6 of those again. So we're going to lift and over for 1. Cross over and back for 2, over and back for 3, over and back for 4. This hits a little bit differently coming from this angle. That's 5, last one, and back for 6. Go ahead and massage out the top of that right thigh if it needs it. And from here, we'll come into our passive posture, finding a nice side body lean in this stretch. So you can bring your block in, bring it to the inside of the right knee, perhaps lower the right arm down onto the block, inhale the left arm up and over as you side body lean. Now you may need to adjust the block, perhaps the height, or if you want, you don't need a block there. If you want to lower the forearm all the way down onto the mat. But in your side body lean, try to think about opening the chest, drawing the left shoulder back, stacking it on top of the right, and reaching with the left fingertips as the left hip stays grounded. Maybe close your eyes. If this is too much on your gaze, you can look down towards the floor. But even as you look down, just remind yourself to keep the left shoulder up and open towards the back. On your next breath in, let's rise up. We'll place the left hand behind us, so back behind the left hip. press down into the left hand as you press into the left shin. And we're going to lift the hips. Take a great full body stretch as you press into the into the bottom of the right foot. And you can get a nice stretch all the way down the right side body. And then relax, come back, lower the hips down towards the earth. From here, we're going to take that whole process over onto the opposite side. So I'm going to spin around so that I can still see you on the camera. And from here, we'll extend the left leg out long, bring the right foot to the inside of that left inner thigh. We'll find our block. And we'll prepare for those leg lifts now onto the opposite side, working the left hip. So find what works for you. You can be very different from one side to the other, and we'll do 6 of these. Lift and lower. For 1, up and back. For 2, across and back. For 3, lift and back. For 4, keep reaching. Back for 5, up and over for 6. Those are challenging. So know that wherever you're at, it takes practice and it takes some work to get used to that. We'll find our forward fold, lifting the arms up, inhale, and then exhale. Lower yourself down. Now, again, I even have to remind myself to find a flat back here. Doing a lot of yin yoga, I do find that I tend to want to round in a lot of poses because yin, we passively come into a lot of postures and we hold them for several minutes. We're not holding these as long, so we're going to try to make them a little bit more challenging by bringing the back to a more flatter shape, leaning forward as much as we can, but trying to stay so that the chest leads forward and we aren't just rounding over the top of the left leg. Finding more of a stretch by trying to keep that straighter back. Now, if you want to come over and walk the hands to the outside of that left foot, maybe you find that you deepen your stretch even further. Finding new ways to feel our shapes and also to feel it in our body. So just exploring different shapes. Really, the depth doesn't matter as long as you're feeling it where you need to feel it. Very good. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and bring those hands back in, come back to an upright posture, and then move into that open hip position. So I'm going to open up my right knee, separate my right foot so there's a good space here. And now my hips, instead of being facing directly over the left leg, now they're turned out to the right. Again, we'll find our block position, and we're going to take those leg lifts over our block. So take your position and then move your hands wherever you need for support. Maybe you can even go with no hands, but we're going to do 6 of those again on the left side. When you're ready, lift the left leg up and over for 1, up and back for 2, lifting and back for 3, lifting and back for 4, up and back for 5. Last one, up and back for 6. And those are no joke. It is a lot of work. You're doing a lot into the left quad, so you can actively feel that cramping. And it's a lot of work on your hip to lift that the weight of your full left leg. Once more, we'll find our side body lean. So if you want to use your block, you can place your left forearm down onto your block. Inhale the right arm up and over as you reach towards the side of the room with your right fingertips, and then remind yourself to open up the chest, bring the right shoulder back so that it's stacking on top of the left. And then breathe. This posture can be very challenging because you're holding a lot of weight above you if you have the arm extended up and over. If having the arm up and overhead is too much, you can press into the top of the right thigh with the right hand. Just remind yourself that you need to keep that right shoulder and the chest open instead of letting it fall in towards the side of the room. One more breath here. On the next inhale, let's rise up. We can set that block out to the side as we place the right hand behind the right glute. We're going to press down into the right shin and then lift up into the hips as we draw the left arm up overhead. Press firmly down into the sole of the left foot so you can really feel the stretch all the way from the left toes into the hip and into the left pinky. Very good. Slowly lower the hips to the earth. I'm just going to set my block out of the way for the time being, and we're going to come into a wide-legged straddle. It doesn't need to be crazy wide. Just open up into a comfortable V position. And from here, we're going to take a little movement in our wide-legged straddle. First, start by walking the hands forward. Again, trying to aim for a flat back. So we're not fully rounding into the position. We're staying slightly lifted and then reaching forward as far as it feels comfortable. You don't need to come down super low. And then from here, we're going to walk the hands over to the left, trying to keep the right hip grounded. And then walk the hands over to the right. So I'm staying fairly low, trying to keep my back straight. We'll walk back over to the left, trying to keep as much weight out of the hands as possible, walking to the right, and maybe even reaching or lifting the hands up off of the earth. From here, we're going to draw the hands through center, back to the left, and then flow to the right, finding this flowing movement, creating a challenge. If you're walking with your fingertips, try to create a nice flowing movement as you go from left to right. If your hands are lifted, maybe you can pause a little bit as you come through center. Feel the weight and then move from side to side. This is a lot of work to stay grounded. It's work through the core and working through the back of the legs. Finally, we'll come back to center. From here, we're going to take a passive fold. So you can allow yourself to round. You can even grab a block or two if you want to rest your forearms on the blocks. But we'll find a fold here in our wide-legged straddle. Perhaps you even want to lower the forehead down onto a block. Keep breathing here as you stay in this challenging pose. Slowly start to lift yourself up, walking the hands in, taking your time as a very deep stretch. We have done a lot into the hips and to the back of the legs. So if you need your hands to help assist the legs and draw them in, go ahead and feel free to do so. From here, we'll just take a few knee drops. You can bring the hands behind you to support, and we'll just drop the knees from right to left, releasing the lower body and the legs, finding that rebound effect from staying in that long hold on both sides. Very good. From here, we're going to lower down onto our backs, but as you do so, I just ask that you keep your blocks nearby so that you are able to reach them easily. So we're going to lower down, First, we'll find our happy baby pose. Nice stretch to have here, especially since we've worked a lot into the hips and into the lower body. So we're going to draw the knees in and bringing them in towards the armpits, maybe grabbing the outer edge of the feet with the hands. If you have the feet, make sure that your hands are on the outside edges, but your elbows are on the inside of the knees as you draw the tailbone and try to connect the lower back with the mat. Keep pulling the feet in, down towards the earth. Feet are flexed, almost like you're trying to stomp onto the ceiling. If this grab is challenging for you, you may want to just take your arms and hook them around the back of the thigh so that you can draw the knees in towards the armpits or the shoulders in this manner. Keep breathing. Very good. Release the soles of the feet so that they can come down to the earth. Now you can stay on your back, but I'm just going to come up just so you have a little reference. For the next pose, we will be on our backs, but our arms will be in a goal post shape like this. So elbows bent in a 90-degree position. And we'll grab our blocks so that our blocks are underneath our forearms. So your forearms should be resting right on the top of the blocks. So that means that most likely your blocks will be off the outside edge of the mat. So find your blocks. If you had to sit up to take a look at your camera, go ahead and lower back down onto your mat and then adjust your blocks so that they are resting just underneath your forearms. Takes a little bit of wiggle room so you find what works best for you. But your shoulders or your elbows should be just about in line with your shoulders, and then your forearms resting on those blocks. From here, we're going to go ahead and draw the knees up into a tabletop. The knees are together, so you go ahead and have everything zipped up, and you're in this tabletop position. Now, the challenge is we're going to try to draw the knees to the elbows. So as we do that, we're going to challenge ourselves, and we're start to draw the knees towards the left elbow. At the same time, trying to keep the right shoulder connected to the mat. Can you avoid lifting the right shoulder? It can be kind of a brain teaser here. And then we're going to slowly come back through center. As you come back through center, to keep yourself from walking down your mat, think about pulling the right hip up, up, towards the right elbow as you now try to draw the knees towards the right elbow. At the same time, keeping the left shoulder connected to the mat. Come back through center again, drawing the left hip up as you try to pull the knees towards the left elbow. Right shoulder trying to stay connected to the mat. Very good. This is a lot of work. We're doing a lot of upper body work, at the same time some core work. We'll come through center here, try to pull the right hip up so you can keep yourself in this compact position, pulling the knees towards the right elbow, keeping the left shoulder connected. Really good. One more time on each side. Again, pull the left hip up to avoid walking down your mat. The knees will come towards the left elbow. And we'll come through center. Last one, bringing the knees towards the right elbow, keeping the left shoulder connected as much as you can. Maybe it lifts off a little bit, but it's taking a lot of brain power, a lot of physical energy to try to keep the shoulders down. Very good. Let's keep the arms where they're at, but we'll lower the soles of the feet. That is a lot of work. From here, we're going to come into recline twist, but again, we'll keep the upper body where it's at. But first, I want to start by pressing down into the mat and lifting the hips up off of the mat just about an inch. From here, we'll shift the hips over to the right and then let the tailbone settle back down onto the mat. From here, we'll take our twist so that our knees fall over and off to the left side of the mat. And I still am going to realign myself just slightly so that my right hip is stacked on top of the left. And now I'm in my reclined twist, but this is a lot harder because with my forearms lifted, I'm still trying to keep my right shoulder down onto the mat. So I can feel that I'm really trying to work a lot into the rotation, the thoracic portion of my back. Maybe your right shoulder is lifted. That's fine, but if you're still trying to actively press the right shoulder down, you can feel that you're working to make that connection. You're working to deepen your twists. It's a lot of work here. Very good. From here, we're going to unwind from our twist. Come back through center. Bring the soles of the feet down onto the mat, and then we're going to lift the hips up. This time, press the hips over to the left so that we can come into alignment once we drop the knees to the right. So now the left hip should be stacked on top of the right. Twisting the knees over towards the right edge of the mat. But now the challenge is to keep the left shoulder pressing down, maybe touching the mat, maybe hovering just above the mat. But we feel that we're really trying to rotate that left shoulder down towards the mat. Very good. Unwind from your twist. That's just incredible. It's a lot of work for such a movement that we have done quite often. We do a lot of reclined twists, but we're adding a little bit of a challenge there. From here, we're going to come into reclined figure 4. So let's go ahead and cross that right ankle over the top of that left knee. And then you can stay right here if it feels good, or if you can draw that left shin in towards the body, you can interlace the fingers either around the back of the left thigh or the front of that left shin. Go ahead and flex the right foot. Maybe draw the knees in towards the body. You can make it a deeper stretch by pressing into the inside of that right thigh. Very good. Go ahead and release the stretch. We're going to swap out the legs. Place the right foot down, cross the left ankle over the right knee. And again, you can stay right here if you feel a lot of stretch into the outside of that left hip, or you can start to draw the right knee in. Going for a grab, winding that left hand into the space created by your legs, and flexing the left foot as we draw the legs in closer towards the body. As you do this, you can not only think about pressing the left knee out and away from you with your left elbow, but think about keeping the connection with your low back, the lower part of your tailbone towards the mat, instead of just allowing everything to curl in towards the body. Very good. Release that right shin, untangle the legs. From here, we're going to draw the knees in, bring the hands to the back of the legs, curl the head and the chin in as we come into a little ball shape, and then roll ourselves up. Coming to a seated position. From here, we're going to take one of our last postures, finding a nice little twist. We're going to bring the right hand to the outside of the left leg. And then maybe the left hand comes behind, finding this twist as we exhale, coming into it. And we'll inhale, remain in the twist, find your breath. Keep breathing deeply through the front and the back sides of the body. If you want to take it a little deeper, maybe you want to walk the right hand behind you, perhaps lean back, bending into the left elbow. Finding a little variation on your twist as you keep the right hip grounded, but you're twisting into the upper body. On the next inhale, we'll go ahead and unwind. Come back through center. Exhale. Take an inhale, prepare, and exhale as we twist now to the right. We'll take the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Start to spiral ourselves to face to the back of the room. The right fingertips can go behind you as we stay upright to start our twist. And then if you want to go a little deeper, maybe bending into that right elbow, starting to walk the left hand back further behind you, trying to stay grounded into that left sit bone so it stays connected to the mat, twisting to the right. Even in our twists, we can feel quite different. One side might feel much tighter than the other. Hopefully by now you're feeling a little bit more loose in this class. And finding your next inhale, we'll start to unwind and come back to face the front of our mat. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and just draw the legs back in. Finding a comfortable cross-legged seat, whatever version is comfortable for you. Maybe you like lotus, maybe you want a shin crossed in front of the other. But we'll close our class in a cross-legged seat. Just allow the hands to come to the top of the knees. Pausing here in gentle breaths to feel the warmth that we've created throughout our body, the energy that we've created into the hips and into the back of the legs. The length we have throughout our spine that we find and explore with the breath. The ease that we can find within ourselves as we take our time to find our awareness on the mat and fully develop our practice, even as it changes from day to day, but to appreciate ourselves and our bodies every time we set foot onto our mat. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, draw the hands to heart center with a small tuck of the chin. Bow to close your practice today. As always, thank you for joining me in your practice. Go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed this class. Leave a comment if you have any questions. And as always, I hope you have a great day. Make it a good one. Bye.